Good evening. It is October 1st. It's Monday night, which means two things. Number one, it's October 1st, and October is probably my favorite month if I have to have a favorite. And number two, it's Sunday night. Sunday night's what it is. So that means tomorrow is Monday morning, and it's back to the grind again. And as I continue to get older, the older I get, which continues to happen, man. With total disregard of my approval, I keep getting older. It's time is relentless, or at least time as we visualize and process it in our minds, that we track it in this linear fashion and correlate it or juxtapose it side by side with our own biodegeneration, which has more to do with the atomic clock, more or less. In a way, it has to do with just half-lives of the materials we're composed of, is what I actually think, in a lot of ways. Not entirely, but not this entirely either. Anyway, that's neither here but always there. Or is it always here and always there? Depends. If time is a singularity, everything occurs on the head of a pin, or if it's like an 8-track cassette where there are many tracks going at the same time in the same space of tape, and sometimes one bleeds through the other. Don't know. But I have my suspicions. Anyway, as I continue to get older, it becomes increasingly difficult for me to understand how, who, what, when, where did we all agree that this is the way to do things, that we should spend our lives. This is how we spend our lives, and we are spending our lives. It has value. We're spending our lives day by day, every day. You're spending a day. You're spending a day you won't get back. It has value. It has worth. That we're spending our lives working. Working typically 5 days of every 7, which is what we calculate to be a week. And we consider that 52 of these cycles constitutes a year. So as we continue to age, it's more and more ridiculous in my mind that this is how we've chosen to live here. Did we really choose this, or was it imposed upon us? And does it include everybody, or does it just include the serfs, which we all are? Even those amongst us who think they're better than that, they're not. They're not. We're still crabs in the same pot, pulling each other down as one tries to climb out, right? Yeah. So we work 5 days so we can try and live 2, but then you can't really live those 2 freely, because you still have to consider what you're going to have to do on that 3rd day, which is the start of the new week and the beginning of the next 5. Seem like a fair trade-off to you? Is that really how you want to spend? If you're young and can do something about it, do it now. Do it now. If I'd thought this way when I was much younger, I would not be sitting here today talking about this. True. Anyway, this video I had to make stat. I'm trying to chill. This is my last evening before the beginning of the next 5-day cycle, which is mandatory. That's how we live here. But this video concerns a young gorilla brother, 19 years old, other side of the country. Not going to say his name, even though basically he knows who I'm talking about. He knows he's him, but I don't want to put him out there. But I'm going to say his name. Screw it. I'm not putting him out there. He has nothing to be ashamed of. Brother Sean. Brother Sean, 19 years old. He's been weightlifting 4 or 5 years. Now listen to this. He started out, he was 300 pounds. 300 pounds. He said mostly all fat. Now he's 215. 215. He's 6'3". Big tall bastard. 6'3". Big frame. No doubt has the bone structure to be a giant, basically. And he's kind of down on himself. He needs motivation. He needs to be uplifted. He needs a pat on the back, or an acknowledgement that what he's done is worthwhile, how he spent his time in these last 4 or 5 years. That is truly excellent progress to have been 300 pounds of, in his words, all fat, to today be 215 pounds at such a young age, 19 years old. So God, how old was he when he first started weightlifting? 15, 16, 17, 18, 19? Was he 15, 14? And he started to work out. He knew, he had a vision. He looked at himself. He wasn't happy. He didn't feel good. He was 300 pounds at that early age, which was extremely unhealthy. And he saw the opportunity and he acted. He acted, unlike me, who I didn't even realize when I was young where this was all going to, which was just like treading water, and it would be the same place, except I'd be much older later. You know, with the 5-day to live 2 thing, and you know, when I could have done something about it. But anyway, point is, he had a vision. He saw where he wanted to go. He knew where he wanted to go. He knew where he didn't want to be, and it was where he was at the moment. So, did something about it. So it seems unthinkable that he would even doubt or have a question or contemplate that, has he made great progress? Is it enough? Should he feel satisfied? Should he feel even prideful? I say yes, 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 yes. Yes. And I'm pretty sure all you are going to agree to, except for those busters who may be out there who are watching because you don't have a life and you don't value your own time as you conceptualize it. And so you're just sitting here as your molecules age, watching something you don't really like. Why? Can't figure that one out either. There's a lot of things I can't figure out. Anybody else? All our brothers and sisters, I'm sure, would say, Sean, you've made outstanding, monumental progress. You have done something incredible, and you deserve all the credit because you did it. You did it. You formulated the plan, you went after it, you secured it, you got there, you did it, you succeeded. That's a huge win. But the main thing that bothers him, or the source of his frustration and aggravation, is guys that are around him in the gym. He said that he has met people that will probably most likely be lifelong friends, and I hope that's true for you, Sean. At such a young age, there were people I thought could have potentially become lifelong friends, but weren't. But I know the difference today. Now, you seem to have a better head on your shoulders than I had at that age, so a more secure grasp on your own future, your own journey, destination, and you may be correct. You may have actually met so far some that are going to be lifelong friends, but conversely, he's also met some that are not quite as friendly, and they kind of tease him or torment him or pick at him because they're like younger than him, but they've surpassed him. They've come along since he's already been there making progress. They've walked into the gym and they've gone on a whole bunch of gear, and you know, as is typical for many people today, not everybody, but many, it's not enough just to experiment with testosterone or take a little test. They're going to take a lot of something because they're watching guys like, you know, these numbnuts that are on YouTube prescribing bag loads of gear when it's not necessary for anybody. They literally prescribe more shit than even a guy like Phil Heath would dare to take. You know why? Because he values his life. He doesn't want to die, right? But nobody believes that. All the busters, they just believe that. Oh, it must be shopping bags of stuff you must take. Now, that's not always the case. But in fact, I've never known it to be the case. People still, they want to believe what they want to believe, what makes them comfortable and fits into their, you know, little view of the world and how it works in whatever category we're speaking of, or within whatever realm of consideration. Anyway, so these guys kind of torment him that they have made more what they consider to be progress than he has in a shorter period of time because they're on all kind of stuff. And he's not. He's natural. And so he feels as if his conquest, his attainment of what he was after, pales in comparison. Well, first off, Sean, let me tell you something. The first hard, cold reality, which you already know, brother, you already know. I'm just letting you know there are more out here than yourself who feels this way and knows this to be true, is that if you have supporters in your corner, if you have people cheering you on, if you have people rooting for you, you know, that's awesome. That's great. Those are friends, and you're blessed to have that. Not everybody has that. Same token, if you have no one, if you have none, if no one's in your corner. It doesn't make any difference. You know why? Because you still have to do the work. And you've already done the work. You've already done something monumental that most people won't do in the course of a lifetime. Do you understand that and realize that? How true that is? Most people that find themselves at, as you said, all fat, you know, whatever that actually turns out to be, at 300 plus pounds or so, they don't in 5 years end up, 215, lean and in shape from working out with weights. Usually that doesn't happen. That's something most people do not accomplish in an entire lifetime. Not to say that there's not many, many people that dream of it, wish they could, but they just don't. For whatever reason, for a million reasons. For as many different reasons as there are cases. But you did it. And you didn't need them. Were they there cheering you on when you first started your journey? Were they there patting you on the back when you hit that finish line where you are today? And I know you don't consider yourself finished by any measure, but to me, that's such a great accomplishment. You deserve to take a breath and feel good about yourself and to feel confident and look in the mirror and be pleased with what you've done. Absolutely. Who do you think deserves all credit and thanks for that? You deserve it. You do. You did the work. You did it. No one can make you do it. You did it. So, like I've always said and like I know through experience, you got people in your corner, folks. You got people that are going to help you and believe in you, support what you want to do with your life, whatever it is. That's awesome. That's picturesque. That's beautiful. That's heavenly. But if you don't, fuck them. It's as simple as that, man. You don't need them. You don't need them. If they're not there to help, if they're there to hinder, you don't need them. Kick them to the curb. Walk on by them, go around them, whatever it has to be. Just leave them to their own thing. Simple as that. Don't let that shit inside of you because it's not real. It's not real. What kind of person? It's important to them in the course of their day or while they're at the gym or whatever exchange or running they have at that point. What kind of person is it even notable, noteworthy, or important for them to take a moment to belittle anything somebody else has done anyway? What type of person is that, man? Is that anybody you want to be? Is that anything you respect? Not me. So I would discount it. If you don't afford it validation, if you don't apply it any worth or legitimacy, it doesn't mean anything, right? I'll tell you a little story that I've told before, but I'll tell it to you again anyway, because I'm an old guy. Maybe I forgot that I told it. If I'm outside, and it's a beautiful sunny day, and I'm sitting on my stone steps, up where it climbs up and goes out into the woods, which is my backyard, and I'm just sitting there and I'm enjoying the sunshine, feeling it on my skin and my head and face, and I'm breathing in the flowers and I hear the birds chirping. And I happen to notice, I'm hearing a little buzzing and I look, what is that? And I just happen to just notice that there is a pile of manure, a pile of shit, a few feet away from me. And there's something on that little pile of shit and it's shaking its little fist and it's making noise and it's gesticulating and it's trying to yell with all its little teeny ability and lungs that it has. And I can barely hear it. I have to strain to actually hear it and afford it all of my attention, 100%, to even make out what in the hell it's trying to relate. And it's saying to me, you dumb, ugly, big MFer, you ain't shit, you not whip your ass, you're nothing, you look like crap, you're a... Do you think that I stop and let that affect my day? How much legitimacy or validation do I afford that fly standing on that pile of shit, talking trash to me, shaking his little fly fist? None. So little that it's not even worth me shooing him away. I just very easily can ignore it, and the birds pretty much basically drown it out anyway. I just get on with my enjoyment of the day. You know why? Because let him have that. I'm bigger than that. Let him have that pile of shit. It's his. He's got it all to himself right this minute. How often does a fly have an entire pile of shit to himself? It's not going to be long. There could be another fly along. That's the best he'll ever have it. He's literally king shit for the moment. It's the best his life will ever get. Let him have that. See what I mean? So no, brother, you're doing what you should be doing. You're above and beyond, actually. You're not mediocre by any means. And I'll tell you one other thing. When I was a smaller guy, when I had poor self-esteem, when I was sickly and young, and I couldn't do a whole bunch of stuff, wasn't allowed to because of my scoliosis and shit, you know, was dealing with all that. And even prior to that, I had the leg braces, just like Forrest Gump. And I was trying to duck that back brace. And every time I went back to that hospital and they checked out the progress of my spine and measured, they said, I don't know, we might have to put that back brace on him. And little Jimmy was sitting in the corner going, oh my God, I hope I don't get the back brace, I hope I don't get the back brace, I hope I don't get the back brace, please. And I would just barely duck it every time. And I'd walk out going, sweating bullets. Anyway, when I look back and I remember all that, there were people then that, and I have on occasion ran into one of these people, very, very rarely. These people have faded into obscurity in my book. As far as my perspective goes in my life, don't know where they are, what happened, what became of them, but there are a couple that I do know what became of. And now as I patiently wait for the rush of 55 to overwhelm me, very shortly, very soon, they're in the same state, around the same age, in most cases because I was a year advanced and a year young, they're already there and past. And when I see them, they look every hour, every minute, every second of that and more. Busted down, broken up. They ain't that anymore. They ain't what they were then. And they're not quite as boastful, and they're not any of that. And do I find satisfaction in that? Nope. I don't find satisfaction in that. It just is what it is. But I'm still here plugging along. So it might have taken me longer, but I'm still here, fully functioning and enjoying life. And there's probably something in that, though I'm not sure exactly what it is. Anyway, take care of yourself, brother. You're not alone. You're part of the family. And bullying comes in all formats. You know, the need that somebody has to put another person down to make themselves feel better. That says something sad about that person. Something's in that person that's not quite right. And at your age right now, you're still so young, 19, you're a hormone-producing factory. You wouldn't even be 6'3" if you aren't producing the hormones that you're supposed to be producing, right? Takes a lot of growth hormone to end up at 6'3". Or God knows if you might even get a little bit taller. So anyway, give it time. You already have come so far. You've already made monumental progress. You should be very proud of that. I think it's incredible. I think it's awesome. I think you serve as a brilliant and wonderful inspiration to many others, and that's what you should be doing with your time, rather than letting any of this other nonsense even inside you. You've already excelled beyond that, and you're younger than they are. So twice the pity for them. All right, you take care. It was great to hear from you, bro. And anybody out there, similar situation, man. Like I told you, if you have supporters, that's awesome. And if you don't, you don't need them. You don't need them. It's a luxury. It's a luxury well worth having and being grateful for. But if you don't have it, you don't have it. It's not going to stop you. In fact, chew that shit up and eat it as energy. It's fuel. Keep on going. Keep on going. You knew where you were going to get this far? Where you go from here is still up to you. Keep doing what you're doing because you're doing something right. Take care. Have an awesome evening.